Hello friends, today I am presenting before you a latest topic entitled Election Reformation. Once Abraham Lincoln, former president of USA, stated that democracy is the of the people, by the people and for the people. So that I can say that democracy is the best policy for ruling a nation. There are two kinds of democracy. One is direct methods, another is indirect methods. In direct method, what actually happens, the people directly place their grievance or need before the authority or the government without any representatives. But in case of indirect democracy, the people do place their grievance or need or demand indirectly, that means through the representatives. As we obey, the India obeys the indirect way or indirect process of democracy. But direct democracy is far better than indirect democracy, because the people, when directly involved and when they can place their need, their demand directly to the authority, the action will be quicker and the developmental work or the prosperity of the people will be better. But in case of indirect way of democracy, what the India follows, in that case, the representative is there to place before the authority, highest authority, the grievance or the need or the demand of the people. But you say, so as for example, I tell you, one MP or one MLA can represent thousands or lakhs of people. So how is it possible a single representative can place all the demands or the needs or the prosper work of the regions? Is it possible on his part during his tenure? I think it is not so possible. So in that case, why not India follows the direct democracy? So my humble submission that, because it, as you know, in Athens, there is till today direct democracy. The people are involved directly in their day-to-day work. So I appeal to the Honorable President of India, that why not India should try the direct process of democracy. Another thing I want to tell you, that bi-party system is better, also far better way of ruling a nation. What you see in India, there are so many regional parties in state levels. There are so many regional parties. And do you know, because of so many regional parties and besides the national parties, so what happens? The developmental work of the state, of the region concerned, may be delayed, may be obstructed, because there are so many parties. Because as you know, when a regional state government stands on his or her own rule, own administration, perhaps the central government may not agree with them. So most of the times there is a tug of war between the state government and central government, as a result of which the general public are the ultimate sufferers. Ultimate sufferers. So there must be only two parties, national parties. There must be only two parties, so that the government and the opposition will be stronger. When there is stronger opposition, sure and certain there must be developmental work, and the developmental work must be quicker and must reach at the people very soon, and they will have their benefits. So I appeal again to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, also Honorable President of India, please, constitution should be changed accordingly so that biparty system must be followed. Because as you know, India has already passed 77 years of independence. Till today, we are in the stage of developing nation. Why? If you see Japan, if you see South Korea, if you see Canada, other nations within less limited years of their independence, they have become developed. But India is still struggling in developing nation. Why? So I say my opinion stands in favor of biparty systems. Secondly, that I tell you that minimum education should be graduation in case of MP or in case of MLA both. So there should be followed the minimum qualification of a contesting candidate either in MLA or MP or in other lower levels like panchayat levels otherwise. There must be minimum graduation. There must be minimum graduation of the qualification of the contesting candidates. And also I tell you that the parliament election and state level election should take place at one time. Why there is different? In different times the election is going to be held. As a result of which you are losing a lot of money. We are losing a lot of powers. We are losing a lot of energy. People are frequently has to come to the both center and they are casting their votes. So in this way they are being disturbed. So I appeal my humble submission that parliament election as well as state level election should be at one time. Should be at one time. Another thing that I don't understand why there is the election or election is going to be held in hot season of the summer. Why? When there is scorching heat of the summer. If our financial years, every year our financial year ends in March and new financial year begins in April, or our new year begins from January. So why not democracy or why not our government should follow but to start the process of election just from the month of December, January, February, and it must be ends. The election must be ends in March, and new ministry should be formed in first week or second week of April. So it is a better because we will go parallel with the financial year. Why there is difference between the financial year or the election year? So it should not be there. So I also request to the Chief Commissioner of the Elections Chief Commissioner, that he should follow these methods. Financial year and the election year but constitution of new government should be parallel. So my humble submission again that what once our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, suggested that power politics should be unknown to the students' world. But are we following now? Most of the students, while they are continuing their study, they are being involved, as a result of which their studies are being hampered. As you know, a student completes its academic career up to the age of 24 or 25. So my appeal here that no student, because they are the future backbone of the nation, they are future hope of the nation. That's why no student who are continuing their studies should not be disturbed by directly participating or in the elections. So there, that I mean to say, no student till the age of 25 years, because 25 years the completion of the academic year of their studies, whether it is a graduation level or postgraduate level or engineering or medical, whatever may be. That's why up to the age of 25 years, no student must not, but no student should directly involve or should participate in the election. They can cast vote, no doubt. They can cast vote, but they should not be involved in any position, either MP, MLO, or in a panchayat election or any block election, or whatever the conditions. They should not take participation. So powers, politics should be unknown to the students for their future benefit. Let's come to the projects. As you know, after the new government is constituted and they start their work. It is very good. They postulate different projects, different plans for the improvement of the public people as a whole. That is good. So whatever they announce, they declare different projects. The river projects, whatever any project, there are so many projects are there. And projects involved to the forest, project involved to the rivers, project involved to the cultivations, project involved to the industry, whatever the projects they are involved with. They are giving, they are involved, they are postulating must be within 3 years of their tenure of government. So let them see whatever they are postulated, whatever they are declared the project, different projects, they should not remain as a nameplate only. The work should be completed and the chief commissioner of the elections should see whether this project has given benefit to the general people, whether they have completed the projects. There are so many projects on the floors, only declaration to allure the public for casting in favor of them, casting votes in favor of them. That is not good. So the projects should not be there in only nameplates, should be completed, and that the outcome of that project should reach the public. Also, another thing I want to tell you that the project, the work of the project, that means prior to the election, that means 1 year prior to the election, no government should announce or declare any new project to allure the publics to vote in favor of them. That is a sort of what I mean to say, that corruption. That is a sort of alluring or that is not good. So prior to 1 year, the chief commissioner of the election chief commissioner must see prior to the 1 year at least no leaders, no politicians, no ministers, the chief minister or prime minister or no ministers should declare any project. Rather, when the chief commissioner of elections should see whether the earlier postulated projects have completed or not. If not completed, they must be directed by the chief commissioner or the chief justice of the Supreme Court or the honorable president of India, that let them first complete the projects. So prior to 1 year of the election, there must not any declaration. It goes against the people's. Only the projects, so many and hundreds and thousands of projects are there. But most of the projects, 90% of the projects are incomplete. Or if it is completed, within a short time, they are being destroyed. Why it so happens? So it is my humble submission that chief commissioner of the election or the chief justice of the Supreme Court or our honorable president should look after these things so that our developmental work should be proper. One thing. Another thing I put question to my mind. Why there is jumping of the leaders from one party to another party just before or prior to the election? Why it so happens? Why? As you know, when a voter casts a vote, he looks to the quality or the stand or the activity of the contesting candidate. Also, Not only that, also he sees that who is the head of that party, because they also see the head of the party is very strong, perfect, clean. So also they cast vote in name of head of the party, not in the name of representatives. As for example, I tell you, in case of Odisha, our Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Navin Patnaik, is a perfect man. He has got clean and clean political background. He has got very clean, perfect background. That's why the people cast vote to BJD, because looking to our Honorable Chief Minister, who is the head of the party. As like I say, in case of BJP, for example, I am giving. Don't take it seriously. In case of BJP also, our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, is also a clean person. He is a perfect man. He is an active man, as like our Chief Minister Navin Patnaik. They are both very active in their work. They are very perfect in words. So the people mostly see who is the head. So when they look, they cast their votes only seeing their heads, most of the cases, not in all cases. So why they are jumping of the political leaders for their only self orientations, only their self interest? So Chief Commissioner of the election must ban, or if any candidate changes the party during the period of just prior to the election, that candidature must be cancelled by mighty hand, by mighty roll. They are not able, they are not fit to contest, because they are a very selfish person. Their self-orientation is more than this self of the nations. They never see the interest of the nations. So my humble submission, changing of the parties or jumping from one party to another party, vice versa, must be stopped, must be stopped. It is a calamity. It is a calamity to the democracy. It is a curse to the democracy. So I tell you, and another thing I say you here, that while election continues, so no, there is sound pollution is the most important problem. So sound pollution within the 25 to 30 dB is normal. Above 30 dB is just little irritating. Above 50 dB, 50 decibel, that is decibel, the unit of the sound, so is annoying, or it is very irritating. So there should not any sound pollution or sound level must not exceed above the 30 dB. And also during elections, posters, placards, papers, there's so many they play in huge numbers. They use in huge numbers on the walls, against the walls, or against the temples, or against the school walls, or institution walls. So many places they keep it very important places, even in the crowded market areas or city areas. They place, but it should not be there. They should not disfigure. They have no right to disfigure the walls, the temples, the institutions. They should not disfigure. They should use in a very proper manner. As a result, which as soon as the election is over, the day of election is over, they should collect all these posters, placards, or papers, and should keep in a proper place, either the waste materials. So they should be placed in a proper way. So environmental cleanliness is very important, and during the time of elections, and also the casting of votes in case of handicapped or in case of senior citizens. This their votes should be begin from their own house at least. So there should be some provision that senior citizens or the handicapped or blind people, whatever it is, they should cast their votes from from their own house. There must be some sort of certain provisions. So what I actually feel in India or any every state, what I see, and there is the tag of war between the state government and central government because of multi-party. If there is bi-party, there should not be tug of war, but that war should be very perfect. That is assigned to the development, full development of the nation. And if there would be bi-party systems and follows what I tell you, if the government follows my suggestions, I assure you that India within 10 or 20 years will be a developed nation, because most of the money we can save when parliament election or state government election or other election should take place in at a time and also bi-party system will be prevalent, and also education of the ML or MPs or others contesting candidates must be minimum graduation. So with this, I tell you one example, beautiful example, because our plan why it fails most of the times. I give you a simple example. There is a king, very luxurious king. He is a good king, no doubt. But one day he expresses his keen desire, that to his ministers, chief ministers, and other engineers or other representatives of the royal family, that I want to see from my palace and to the my office, capital office, about 8 kilometers. I want to see on both the sides of the roads there should be rose flowers. While I will pass, I will see rose flowers blooming, laughing, inviting me, and I will get immense pleasure out of that, out of their beauties, out of their fresh smilings, out of their smells. So he expressed to his administrators or to his chief ministers or other engineers. And they tried their best. 2 or 3 years passed, but they did not succeed. They did not succeed. The king was annoyed. Then a person, a scientist, an environmentalist, a scientist that is he was an environmentalist. So he approached the king, and because that the news came in the newspapers, that the chief ministers and other engineers and the bureaucrats those who were there associated with the king, they are being failure. That's why he approached the king and asked him, if do if you do trust me, please assign this task to me, so that within 1 year or half I will show you the beautiful rose gardens on both the roadsides. The king did not agree at first. However, the person tried to convince him, and then the king did agree. So he gave a plan of about 5,000. Sorry, 5 lakhs. He gave a plan of 5 lakhs, and the king readily granted, because previously the chief ministers and bureaucrats and engineers, they had spent already more than 20 lakhs, but they didn't succeed. He only asked for 5 lakhs initial stage. So he did something. I do not want to tell you here, but he did. He tried his best. Then after 6 or 8 months, then he approached the king. Then he asked more 3 lakhs. Then the king questioned. You asked 5 lakhs, I gave you. I granted you. Then again, why are you asking 3 lakhs? Okay, I am granting that 3 lakhs also. So he granted 3 lakhs. Then he did something. I don't want to say now. Then after 4 months, then he approached the king and asked for 2 lakhs more. The, the king became surprised. You are asking me again and again 8 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, then now it is 2 lakhs. Sir, it is my last request. I will never ask next. So you please grant me 2 lakhs. So I will present you very beautiful rose on both the sides of the roads. So the king, with gladly granted the 2 lakhs. Then after 1.5 years, he invited the king, sir, come and see. Come and see. My work is over. My duty is over. I have done my duty very sincerely. Please come and visit. So the king with his ministers, other bureaucrats, other engineers, they started moving from the royal palace to their main office. And it was too much. The king, the the surprise of king was bounds. That means king was so surprised and very much wonder to see beautiful roads on both the sides of the roads. Not only that, also beautiful rose gardens on the neighboring houses who are present, who are located on both the sides of the roads. The king instructed only both the sides of the road there should be rose plants. But these environmentalists, the scientist, he created not only on the road, two sides of the roads, the beautiful rose flowers, also in every neighboring houses, there are beautiful rose gardens. The king was overwhelmed with joy and he praised the scientist. Oh, you are indeed great. Then he asked, how did you do it? When my chief ministers, my manpower, so many manpowers, they failed. How did you do it? Then he explained in a brief way. Your Majesty, O King, Your Majesty, that I please listen to me. I took 5 lakhs from you and I did grow. I did grow myself and my party, my companies or my person members, those who are associated with me, and that we grow the nursing rose plants. Then we planted the rose plants. We fished the rose plants or planted the rose plant on both the sides of the road. We planted it accordingly. And it was full of 8 kilometers. But after few days, few days or few months, what I see, when it grows up little, then what I see, one day I see there are no rose plants on both the sides of the roads. But I was not surprised, O king, I was not surprised. I knew it would happen. Then again, I had asked you 5 lakhs. Again, I started, there are so many, not all the rose plants are rooted out, but they stolen. Some are there. One third of the rose plants are there, 2/3 were missing. Then I started planting the rose plants. And also I see now it is 60% rose plants are surviving. Yeah, 40% are stolen. 40% rose plants are stolen. Then in the end I took from you 2 lakhs. About more than 60 or 70 to 80% was filled. So 2 lakhs I did it and I again do the same practice. I planted the rose plants and I did succeed. The result is that when I planted first, the neighboring people, because rose is a plant which is very valuable, nobody will throw it out. So the neighboring houses, the members of the neighboring houses, in the midnight, they steal. They take away the rose plants and plant it in their own garden. Likewise, they did when their gardens are full of rose plants. So further, they did not steal it. Further, they did not take it out because their gardens are already full of rose plants. So, in the last stage, 1/3, then again 2/3, then about 100% rose plants were found in both the sides of the roads. So, it was the plan. It was the planning. When government plans, what I see in 5T, is there any environmentalist among the 5T? No, there is not a single environmentalist. If environmentalists like me should be there, so I assure you, the whole Odisha will be very beautiful and prosperous in environmental conditions. It will be very prosperous, very beautiful with regard to the environmental conditions. So, that brain, the meritorious brain is very important. Planning, the well thought planning, meritorious planning, genius planning from the genius persons who are very much concerned associated with the environment. They know what is environment. So they should be their instruction should be taken into account. So I thank you all. With this, I thank you all.